You all are perfect and amazing. Welcome to State of Awareness. My name is Danny Wright. I'm just going to get right into this. So, I want to talk about spiraling. I want to talk about the whole premise of what a spiral is. Okay? So, we've operated in ego our whole entire life. We didn't know it. We were unconscious to it. So, have some grace with yourself because you didn't know any better. I didn't even know any better. All right? Well, we had a bunch of circumstances happen that caused us to fall in the trap of automatically reacting, automatically assuming, automatically judging, and automatically criticizing ourselves. And this was, that this a lot of people have harmed themselves with this kind of thinking. Like people don't understand that they are not their thoughts. They are not the automatic mind. They're the ones that are observing the automatic mind. Okay, but you are not the mind itself. All right, and I understand that these self-concept coaches and the people that say, well, just affirm good things for you and blah, 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 that's great, because when I started out on this journey, I had to do some affirmations and stuff for myself because I didn't know any better. I was going off what I was told, and the further along in the journey I got, I started resonating more with the I am, because I grew up as a Christian, and Jesus was the way. Jesus is the I am, I am, So the further I went down that rabbit hole, the more I started realizing and things just started clicking that, excuse me, one take, we're doing this in one take, that the constant repetition was something that I really did think that I had to do because I was told that our reality is 95% of our subconscious beliefs. Okay, that's understandable. If you want to go down the route of reprogramming yourself, thinking that there's something for you to fix, then by all means, just go down that route. But the premise of my channel is to help you stop doing that and to stop thinking that there's something wrong with you. Okay, this is where spiraling comes into play because then you hear coaches say, correct your thinking. Automatically start just boom, 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 correct every thought, flip every thought, do this, do that. And these coaches mean well. Some of them, I feel that they're regurgitating what other coaches say just to say it, because there is a lot of law of assumption coaches out here, but they really do teach just Neville Goddard concepts, and then they sprinkle it in. Well, they teach self-concept, and then they sprinkle some Neville Goddard concepts into it, okay? It should really be called the law of self-concept, because people think that the self-concept piece is the foundation of all manifesting. It's not, because I view that as you're inflaming your ego with the constant repetition and think that there's something wrong with you. So the ego will keep you in that loop. So I've noticed I'll just use me as an example. So whenever I'd spiral out, whenever I would fucking literally spiral the hell out, I would think that there is something wrong with me. Therefore, these coaches told me that I have to work on my self-concept. There's some hidden belief that I can't find. There's hidden beliefs that are just lingering around that you can't see. You have thoughts that you don't even know that you're thinking of. First off, once you bring the unconscious conscious, you are aware of your thoughts at that moment because you're not running on this auto programming anymore. Okay, you're not identifying with your thoughts. That's the biggest part because people can't distinguish between it's me, the ego, that is claiming all of these versus I'm the awareness of the ego claiming all of these. Okay, so the ego is over here just hijacking the awareness piece. So when you're starting to flip your thoughts and do all this other shit and you see something else happen in your fucking reality, it turns out to be that the ego is constantly reacting. The ego spirals out of control when it's reacting to the circumstances. And no one that I've noticed, until I switched the people I listen to, talk about the fact that you're not the one that's spiraling. You're not the one that's reacting. You are still being, say that you're aware of yourself spiraling, okay? You're like, man, dude, these thoughts are just going crazy. You're being aware that your thoughts are going crazy, but you're not in that moment identifying with them. But then in a second, you're about to start claiming them because they won't shut the hell up and you're not taking the observer role of it. You're not the one that's spiraling. It's just conditioned thought patterns. That's all it is. They're just conditioned thoughts, all right? So when I used to go down the whole rabbit hole of listening to sleep tapes, listening to subliminals and all that stuff, I don't listen to subliminals. I'll listen to my sleep tapes sometimes just to place so my I don't do it for the premise of manifesting something or reprogramming myself. I just want something in my awareness when I'm sleeping or my subconscious to listen. I don't really worry about the subconscious either. But I just want something better than me falling asleep to some random video about games or whatever, because I'll fall asleep. I love video games and stuff. But yeah, just some random video. I'd rather just hearing my voice telling me that I'm source, I'm awareness, and all this other stuff. I'm not doing it to reprogram my mind. But nonetheless, I'm getting off track. I want to talk about the spiraling part. You're not the one that's spiraling. These coaches are, when they say like, you can't be double-minded, you can't do this, you can't do that. First off, they're throwing something in your reality that you can't do this, you can't do that. So you're allowing someone outside of your awareness tell you how to operate in awareness. So they're telling you, they're basically telling you to stop being double-minded. And so when you start wavering, it's not you that's wavering, it's your ego, because it's conditioned, it's limited. But you're the one that gives the ego life, okay? So, but people take on the ego as like, this is me, I'm the one that's wavering, I'm the one with these emotions, I'm the one with this. You're the one that observes the thoughts. Your emotions just rise up in your awareness for you to release. That's it. You can use your emotions to your benefit when you declare too. Like using emotions, I swear. When I rampaged, when I learned about incantations from the hell is his name? Tony Robbins. He was talking about getting your whole body into it. Just start feeling your affirmations. Some of them I had to brute force in, because not the manifestations, the actual affirmations or declarations, I like to say now. I had to sit there like, this is me, I am this. And I started moving my body into it to start getting it going. I mean, like I did it for like 3 days. I lost my voice because of it, because this was during my ego death. And I just wasn't having it anymore. I used my emotion. I didn't give a fuck if I was sad, mad, happy, didn't care at that moment. All I knew was that conviction I had that I am shifting realities. This is who I am now. I am the one that is observing the ego. I'm not the little fractured fucking ego mind, okay? And I know there's content creators on here that like to say that you need to become friends with your ego. Tried it, done it, doesn't work. I'm good on all that. But I will talk to myself gently and kindly, like, not like I'm just holding hands with my subconscious under a rainbow. Like I'll talk to it assertively a little bit, but I don't yell at it. I don't talk bad about myself, like I don't do none of that. Because no matter what, even if the thoughts that are causing you to spiral, it's still the ego spiraling, and you are still the observer in those moments. Even though it feels very heavy, you are now switching your perception to realize that it's not you that is spiraling. The ego is just a reactionary system. It's a fight or flight response. It's an automatic response. It reacts to stimulus. It makes sure that you are covered. It makes sure that you are protected, because people are the ego's biggest triggers. I mean, circumstances can pop up that can cause the ego to trigger, like your tire going out or whatever. But nonetheless, the people in your reality that cause you to get triggered is beneficial to you, because all they're doing is showing something within you that needs to be released. Okay, that has been suppressed deeply, that you've never really addressed. So just know that when you're spiraling, it's not you that's spiraling. It's the ego throwing a tantrum. It's just like, when babies have to go to sleep, but they throw a fit before they go to sleep, or a kid that's tired and they don't want to go to sleep, but the less you acknowledge them, the more they'll just end up drifting off to sleep. That's the same exact thing you need to do with your ego. You need to sit there, observe the fact that, oh, okay, I know where this is coming from. This is coming from the ego. I don't have to claim this. Man, this emotion is really there. I'm going to feel this and accept it, and I'm not going to suppress it, because I've done that my whole life. I've treated this, my ego has treated my emotion as this is bad, and they are the reason that I'm having this emotion. No, they just triggered something and hit a subconscious belief that needs to be released. This is another form of shadow work, okay? So when you're having these emotions and these triggers, love yourself in that moment. Recognize that it's not them, it's not the circumstance, it's something within you. Consciousness needs you to get rid of this shit, okay? So nonetheless, once I started switching my perspective to look at it like that, instead of taking on the blame and the guilt of the ego, is when I was free. Because these coaches made it seem like I had to flip my thoughts, that I couldn't think negatively, that I had to be afraid of not be afraid of my thoughts. They made it sound like, just don't take your thoughts seriously. Okay, but then no one ever expanded on it. I didn't know that when that was happening, because they made it seem like if you just rewire your subconscious, you will change all your automatic thoughts. Okay, that's great, okay? Takes 30, 60, 90, 120 days, depending on how old you are and how many stories and circumstances you've been through in your life and how much shit you've reacted to. The best thing that happened to me was that I just stopped completely claiming the ego. Yeah, the ego likes to latch onto identities. Like I say right now, I am a coach. But who is the coach? Is it the ego that's claiming that identity that I am a coach? Am I the awareness of me being a coach? Or am I the awareness of helping people out with becoming their awareness? Or no, they're not becoming their awareness and they're not finding their awareness. They're just disengaging with the ego because they've been awareness the whole entire time. It's just their ego hijacked it, okay? So it's not like I'm over here saying, don't say good things about yourself, like saying, oh, I'm confident, or blah, 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 blah. That's fine. You can do that stuff. You can do whatever the hell you want in your reality. I just want to help you guys understand that the difference between the ego and awareness. If you identify with your awareness first, because if we're going to break it down too, that's the ultimate self-concept right there, is the awareness piece. But people take on the fact that, oh, I got to rebuild my ego in the same time frame as me identifying with awareness, okay? It's just better to not take the ego seriously anymore and look at it for the illusion it is, because this is the one that causes you all to spiral the hell out. And I've spiraled. There's been days where I didn't want to go to work. There was days where I'm just like, dude, fuck this. I want to go home. I want to lay there. I want to just affirm and saturate my mind because I'm being in my fearful thoughts and I know that I must not think negative. So I got to go home and just start hammering home these affirmations, and I got to listen to theta wave beats so that my subconscious can absorb all this, so I can just rewire my subconscious. And then a year later, nothing happened because I kept reacting every 1 to 3 days, but it wasn't me that was reacting. It was my ego that was reacting, and I'm not the ego. I'm the one that gives the ego life. I'm the one that gives those automatic thoughts life. And listen, every automatic thought is ego. But if you want to identify with the good ones, that's fine. Go ahead, do whatever you want. Just know that your awareness first. And then if you have good things you want to say about yourself, go ahead and do that. But you're not fixing yourself. You're declaring who you are when you are identifying with awareness, okay? But you are awareness nonetheless. Your awareness selects the states. The automatic mind is not who you are. It's just conditioning based off who we've been. It reflects all old states that we've identified with, okay? And basically, it's that. Like, the awareness piece saved my life. It saved my mentality so much because I overthought way more when I was studying the law of assumption concepts. Like, all these law of assumption teachers should really just be law of self-concept coaches. They shouldn't be teaching law of assumption, in my opinion, because I just hear them talking about self-concept so much. And the only thing I gathered and I really think that they're going off, change your concept of self, that piece. Change your concept of self. Change it to be an awareness. Don't change it into inflaming an ego to become another ego, because you can inflame this ego as much as you want with new affirmations and declarations and beliefs or whatever, but you're still going to have that little lingering fear, doubt, worry. Oh my God, now I got to work on my self-concept even more instead of being the observer of that ego. The ego is so sly. And I'm also going to make another video about spiritual ego, because that piece right there made me had a question if I was operating in spiritual ego. And it made me realize that no, because I'm not claiming that I'm just this spiritual guru over here and that I'm a chosen one. I'll go more into that. But regardless of all of this, you are free. You are not the one spiraling. These are just old conditioned thoughts that you've identified with before. And the best course of action is to feel the emotion, understand that you are the observer of the thoughts. No thought has any power over you unless you start claiming it and thinking it is you. This is where the ego illusion steps in and starts fucking with you. This is what causes your spirals, but you're claiming the spirals as it's you. You're still the one observing. The spiraling is coming within your awareness. The spiral is coming up inside of your awareness. It wasn't there 20 minutes ago when you weren't spiraling, and then I don't know where the ego got triggered, and so now it's claiming like, oh, let me just throw this one into their awareness. They'll definitely identify with this. It's not about that anymore. You don't have to flip your thoughts constantly. Once you have called out the ego and are calling it out the way you need to as the observer, like, oh, that's ego, that's conditioning, that's conditioning, that's conditioning. It slowly drifts away, but you're slowly pulling out, you're not slowly, you're just ripping out as many anchor points as possible. Because the more you disengage and call out the ego, you don't realize it right now, but you're slowly just removing that anchor points, okay? You're not picking up every leaf, like in my last video when I was talking about the river being the mind and all the leaves being the little automatic thoughts. You're not picking up every leaf and claiming them anymore. You're starting to really see it for what it is. You're not claiming it. You're not selecting those states. You're sitting back, allowing it to flow through, right? And then you reclaim who you are. You're being the awareness as the observer of the spiral, and then after it's calmed its little tantrum down, then you step in as awareness again and claim who the hell you are, okay? But no matter what, if you have very strong thoughts when you're spiraling, you observe it. You start sending back, instead of flipping your thoughts, you're like, nope, that's ego. That's ego, because you're training yourself at this point. You're not spiraling anymore. You're stepping back, because this stopped my spirals. Doing exactly what I'm telling you stopped all my spirals. I don't spiral anymore. The most I've ever spiraled was when I was listening to the coaches talk about self-concept and rewiring your subconscious. Those are the moments where I spiraled the fuck out. But once I found awareness and understood the ego, it was like poof, weight lifted off my shoulder. Everything's good to go, you know? And then my favorite part is that self-concept coaches come to me for coaching. That's my favorite part, because they're seeing the truth as well, okay? It's not bad to have a high self-concept or think good of yourself, but understand your awareness first, in that when you're having this high self-bravado about yourself, and that those fears and worries and doubts come in, you're still the awareness of those fears, worries, and doubts. You can identify as whoever the hell you want. That's the best part about having free will for each individual down here, okay? No one has control over your awareness unless you give them that. But the ego has stepped in and started giving people power because they keep constantly reacting to them, which causes you to spiral. But it's not you that's spiraling. It's not you that's spiraling. It's not you that's spiraling. It's the ego throwing a tantrum, okay? Look at it for what it is. It's crazy simple. Like, once I figured it out, I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Because I immediately got pissed at all these coaches talking about law of assumption and all that stuff. And once I figured out the ego part, my desires became neutral. Fucking neutral. I couldn't believe it. I didn't desire my desires anymore, because within, in my imagination, where imagination is the true reality, your awareness is the one that manifests it, and your subconscious produces it. But I don't even care about the subconscious anymore. I just care about making sure that I'm not identifying with ego, and I'm just identifying with awareness. I really don't give a shit about the subconscious anymore, unless I get triggered. And then if I get triggered, I know it's the ego getting triggered, and then I allow the emotion to release, and I feel it, and I don't deny myself of that, because consciousness that you are, because we're all being lived through each individual awareness. We're all one awareness, and then we're all like little waves of the awareness itself, but we have the ego to have the illusion of separation, so we can all each individually have our own experience. But the ego has completely hijacked everything. We formed these beliefs, and we've just been running on autopilot. But now we're waking up. We're waking up to ourselves, okay? No matter what, you're not the one that's spiraling. You're the one observing the spiraling, okay? I love all you guys. I don't even know how long this video is, but yeah. I love this way more than TikTok, because I can just talk and I don't feel rushed. But all right, again, you're all perfect and amazing. And there's a comment that said, well, you just said you're perfect and amazing. Isn't that a form of self-concept? I just look at consciousness as being perfect and amazing. And yeah, the self-concept piece, how I view it is that when coaches throw out the self-concept stuff, they're basically, I look at that as like a throwaway answer to go fix yourself. You never needed to be fixed. You can consciously choose whatever identity you want. Just know that the fear, worries, and doubts that come up aren't you. There's nothing for you to fix. That's something for you to transmute, fill out, and let go, okay? You're still the observer and the awareness of it all. You're the observer of everything, okay? You all are perfect and amazing, okay?